everyone. We welcome you all to the panel discussion 4. The topic for panel discussion 4 is the interface between data privacy. Let's have our key panelists joining in for the session. We have Panduranga Acharya, he is a head legal Swiggy. We have Venkat Raghavan, proprietor Escalade Legal Services. We have Atul Juvle, he's here to join. He's a general counsel, compliance officer, and CS India and South Asia, Chandler India Private Limited. And our moderator for today for this session is Satish Kumar, Global Head, Legal and Chief Data Protection Officer, Ramco Systems. So over to you, Satish.
Thank you, organizers, for organizing this wonderful session. So welcome everyone for this wonderful session. The interface between data privacy and IP laws. This has always been a very tricky one and quite interesting topic as far as the data privacy is concerned. With that data privacy picking not just in India but across the globe. How does the interface work between the privacy laws and IP laws is something which we need to discuss. And with our own data privacy law coming going to come maybe soon, we will hear more from other experts here in India. So it is very critical to understand how the data privacy works. To start off with, I will request Mr. Atul to tell us about the interaction usually between the IPR and GDPR, and also what are the changes from the old IPR system to big data, the challenges of infringement and the challenges that we usually IPR attorneys face on a day-to-day basis with respect to privacy laws. Over to you, Atul. Thank you, Atul.
Thank you, Satish. So to start with, GDPR is related with the personal data and particularly natural persons, and IPR is not. IPR again it actually all the kinds of regulatory work as well as the business work, and IP is not an exception. So to start with, if I have to give a simple example, IP applications, we are collecting the personal data, and there where we have to the obligation will be there on the compliance with the GDPR. So we have Venkat actually particularly as a counsel, and he will be more talking about the lawyer's perspective. But to talk about, first I will visit the classic the IP system, current IP system, and which is undergoing a transformation, digital transformation. Because what we considered actually assets, they are assets, no doubt, but times are changing, things are changing, and that is why there will be a digital transfer. For example, nobody considered that data will become asset, and now that has to be protected. So GDPR is one of the regulation to protect the data, and that is why the IP systems will be undergoing the definition change, and maybe more assets will be added for the IP product. Now to talk about the challenges now, which is posed by the GDPR, is to one is the, as I said, application stage. Second is then appeal and enforcement stage, where we are collecting the data. Collecting the data was easy prior to GDPR because information was available in a public domain, but now these informations will not be easily available, and that is one of the problem in enforcement which will have to face. Fortunately, yet at present in India, GDPR, the data privacy law, is not become the act. So we are not facing the problem. But once it become a data privacy, then sharing a data of infringer, because infringer will be a person's, and then it becomes a personal data. Not only that, but when you get into the enforcement mode, we have to do many searches, many particularly trials and errors, where we access the data, which will be difficult particularly with the data privacy law, because everybody will be under obligation not to share the data, and then it will be a particularly challenge. Actually, we all know that enforcement actions in the IP also is itself is a challenge in the current environment also. but it will become a bigger challenge in GDPR regime because everybody will be legally guarding their data. To give you example how IP definitions are changing, I will quote an example which is there in the particularly public domain, where Guardian reporter was registered with the one app actually, and that was a Tinder site, and it is a dating app, and she asked for the data, DSCR, data subject access right. So she got all the records, but when she asked 800-page record, she got. But when she asked how you were monitoring and customizing my preferences, that information they did not disclose. They said it is our technology and data privacy, and it is, and particularly it is IP tool, so we will not be able to share. The case is still pending, but these are the types of new cases will be coming to IP, and we are, it's a evolving stage, so we have to look forward how the things are shaping up. So one more issue I will highlight is not only I am highlighting the issues, but we will find the solutions also. So one more issue is the data portability, where the data subject can ask for the information, and as I mentioned, data will be confidential data. For example, my customer data will be confidential data, which will be clubbed with individual person data, and I will not be able to bifurcate the data. Then should I do the portability? Should I do the portability with my competitor? So that's a one of the challenge which we will face in the data protection, particularly GDPR or data protection regime, and which will have the IPR connect definitely. And as we grow on the discussion, we will add some more points. So over to you, Satish.
Atul, for quite enlightened session where you brought in about how the privacy brings in, especially about the data aspect. Now let us move to Venkat Raghavan. I have some pertinent. Venkat is a practicing attorney, so I have some pertinent questions for him. So Venkat, what do you see the latest data protection bill? Do you think that it will be passed? Now we have been waiting from 2019, if I am not wrong, 2019. So do you think that it will pass at least this year? That is one. And what are the moods, especially available or seen in the attorney circle? And what are the current trends and enforcement of data privacy in India? You may also share, now the most important topic about the WhatsApp privacy policy issue.
Yeah.
And now everybody jumping from WhatsApp to other messenger. So what exactly is WhatsApp privacy talking about? Can you shed some light? Everybody knows that it is WhatsApp privacy bill is not good, but what is not good? So can you shed more light on this queries, Venkat? Thank you, Venkat.
Sure. Thank you so much for that question, Satish. First, to start with, yes, the data protection bill was actually it has been placed before the Parliament in the year 2019 by the Ministry of Electronics and Telecommunication, and it is still yet to become a law. So there are a lot of interesting, actually quite a few things which has been added in the new bill. If once it is enforced, I think all the issues, as you have pointed out with regard to WhatsApp, or even, I mean, God knows, there are so many apps. For example, according to me, there are also these banking apps actually, wherein once you download, you automatically agree to various SMS and other communications which you share on your phone accessible to these apps. So like that, also you have various games on Facebook as well.
And Venkat, I'll just interrupt here. This bank, when you spoke about banking apps, I heard that this banking apps even tab your contact details, and they subsequently blackmail those people who are taken loan and have defaulted. So this is very critical, and maybe this platform you can also shed some light on that.
Absolutely. So even I think I'm sure you also have these recent loan scams and all these other issues happening in India. But maybe perhaps to first address your question here, what's happening is there have been various instances and also allegations against banking companies here that they have been selling the data to other organizations. So that is where actually you get these calls, I mean, like, do you want a credit card? Or actually they have all the information about you as to which bills you're paying, what is your full name, what is your address, where you're residing, while actually you provide this information to the banking apps only to the extent of using the banking services. So like these, there are so many such issues. I mean, this is just a example of the banking app what I'm giving here. Now coming to the WhatsApp question, Satish, which you have put forth before me. Now again, WhatsApp, as we all know today, is owned by Facebook. So the latest policy in India, what's happening is WhatsApp, again, due to this flaw, or maybe due to the absence, if I may say, actually in the law, no, not the flaw, sorry, it's more than the absence of the law. So people are, I mean, WhatsApp is able to use our data and sharing it with Facebook, and it is actually alleged that Facebook now can have pretty much a 360-degree view of your profile based on these communications what you're sharing on WhatsApp. So that is quite scary, because what happens is, though to a large section people might be unaware, but it is trouble which I can foresee in days to come, because you just don't know how this information of yours can be later used, because you agree to a terms of a particular app only for the sake of the app, I mean, like, only for the purpose of the app, not beyond the purpose. But due to this data protection bill, once if this becomes a law, according to me, all these issues will be taken care of, to begin with, where WhatsApp cannot update its privacy policy here, because currently what even WhatsApp excuse me, what WhatsApp is saying is also is that by February 8th, if you don't actually accept their terms and conditions, then eventually you will have to stop using WhatsApp, and maybe perhaps use some other this thing. And eventually here, what in reality what's going to happen is people will still maybe perhaps continue. That's what they're hoping for. But at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, like, this is the flaw, which is this is the absence of the law which is here. And with the data protection bill kicking in, hopefully once it becomes a law, this issue will be taken care. Also, coming from perhaps a litigation perspective, the interplay between IP and data privacy, where I see mostly, is in the area of copyrights, wherein a data, for example, I have had, maybe perhaps without citing the names, if I can cite one of the cases which I was facing, where an employee of one company actually had taken the data which was created by him, and it was stored on his personal laptop. Then this person went to company 2. Then in company 2, in the company's 2 laptop, which was provided by the company 2, he had stored this information which he bought from company 1 into company's 2 laptop. Then it was company 2 which approached me saying for breach of data. Well, actually the data which was inside the company's 2 laptop belonged to company 1. So then later even company 1 was implemented, and then eventually the matter was settled with the employee. So I mean, sometimes we have situations wherein they say that it was done out of innocence, or maybe they were unaware of the policy. But of course, all the companies today are very, very strict, as we all know. And even when I'm also advising companies, we have various agreements, especially a specific non-compete confidentiality clause, which is agreement, sorry, which is specifically signed. So later claiming ignorance in these kind of situations really is not going to be any good. So this was one such situation from a litigation perspective, which I can say, which wherein I was engaged by company 2 here. So these are some of the things, according to me, wherein I feel once the protection bill, I really don't know when the bill is going to be passed as a law, but I hope that it is very soon, because I feel with our data, even for example, being used by, like, say, we have Amazon Alexa, we have all these Echo, we have so many devices today. Even all our cars are getting internet, all smart cars with internet inside. You have the MG Hector, which has come here. So a lot of our data is getting stored somewhere, and with the lack of a proper law, this data today legally can be used for any other purpose rather than the purpose for which actually we share the data with them, with these devices. So according to me, the faster the bill is passed into a law, the better. and definitely it is calling for that. I just hope that sometime very soon the government is able to pass the act, so
Yeah, I would like to add, Venkat, here that I understand that the WhatsApp privacy restriction is not imposed in the 80 odd GDPR countries
that's
where
correct.
GDPR is applicable. It is only applicable, this law, this privacy restriction or the privacy is applicable only in places where GDPR is not applicable. So this is very ironical, and that makes it more important that we have our own privacy law coming in soon here, and the government should take this as a cue and should bring in the privacy law at the earliest. And do you
Absolutely.
think that the current privacy law that is being drafted and modified and again changed and again passed through various rounds in the parliament, do you think that that will address the issues like WhatsApp privacy issues, especially for cross transfer of data across multiple platforms? Venkat?
Yes, Satish, because the definition of what is sensitive personal data itself is being changed in the new bill. And as per this bill, it is very clear that for what reason we share the information, it is only for that specific purpose we can use the information. It cannot go beyond the purpose. Like how, like I cited the WhatsApp example here, where it can actually pretty much have a 360 degree personality view about you. Well, it should be only used for messaging purposes. So the new bill, yes, to answer the question, it will take care of a lot of things actually. Like I said, not just WhatsApp. This is just because WhatsApp is famous. We're getting to know already. The banking apps are doing it. The gaming industry is doing it. I had in another webinar in the gaming industry. You have various rummy, poker, and all these games today, which is being played. During the COVID times, everybody was sitting at home. You have the Ludo King. So and then you have the again, to add more pain to the agony here, you have all these wallet systems,
The betting
territorial
apps,
jurisdictions, right?
in T20 games and all, which is banned in some of the countries, and it is there
Right.
in India being beamed out of countries like Hong Kong and other places,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
people are using those apps, so but now it's getting very critical every day, and we really don't know what is sitting in our smartphone. Are we really smart enough to have a smartphone? Is something that we should ask ourselves.
Right. And many people are actually contemplating of having a work smartphone, a home smartphone, because just to ensure that all your activities are just happening on that specific phone. So that's the talk which I'm seeing with some of these people who are well aware of how these app functions, with some of these engineers who I work with. So this is something which they're thinking of actually.
Thanks, thanks, Venkat. So next we come to Mr. Panduranga Acharya. He's the GC for Swiggy. I have a very interesting query. So for Mr. Panduranga, in the online market place ecosystem, how are the IP rights basically protected? Because I know you are a major player in the online marketplace. So how is the IP right protected, or how do you take care of IP rights in the online marketplace? And now everything is online. We have not just Swiggy, we have Amazon, we have everything. With COVID coming in, I think online apps started booming. So a lot of online transactions have also happened. Now nobody is ready to go out. So in this lockdown period, so in the online transactions booming, is company right in claiming IP on the data when the data privacy is a concern? So basically, that these are some of the interesting questions or concerns that people, attorneys have in their mind. So we look forward to hearing from you, Panduranga.
Sure, Satish. Thank you so much for the question. It's quite interesting and equally, very complex question. It is not so easily understood, right? I would just draw some inspiration from the doctrine of ignorance of law, no excuse. and it is conflicting with void for vagueness, right? So this is very interesting piece, and it can go for a lengthy debate when with the I mean, I'm sure like Atul is already like nodding his head. So so intermediaries who certainly not involved in the activity are, we call it as active participation, and reduce themselves only to making rules, are providing platform where they act of receiving, storing, and not involving any in the transaction actively, would have a benefit of a safe harbor provision. So this means they should not be held accountable or liable for actions of another person, because they were only acting for the other person. This have over a period of time has really taken a very steep U-turn when it comes to IP protection, because these safe harbor provisions cannot be one-sided to always protect these and thereby let loose all the IP violations on these platforms. There are many recent developments in terms of 4 or 5 years of history of judgments, more specifically in India. The online platforms have been pulled by the High Court of Delhi for allowing these products or IP infringement, mostly in terms of fake products. One of the recent case, I think I have a liberty to take the name of this company and the brand because it's already in the public domain. So there is a platform called Darwish.com on which there is one French brand called Christian Louboutin, and they have few cosmetics, accessories. Those products were meta tagged by this company for inviting consumers. So meta tagging, anyone who will Google on the platform would be directed to this platform so that they will find this platform in their search list. So what they were to go, and then they will be able to make purchases from that platform. Now, whether or not that platform has genuine products or not, it is definitely not possible. There may be a lot of claims, but I would say this intermediary is incapable of verifying the genuineness of the product unless they have some control on the fulfillment. As a service they can provide, which is also provided under the law, and it is permitted, and you can still maintain your intermediary status. In that cases, what happens is, if a seller were to sell products which is spurious, right? In that case, what is the remedy available to the brand, right? So this safe harbor provisions in that case may not work, because I want to draw a quote from the Shreya Singhal judgment, which is a very famous judgment for the section 660A. But this judgment also have dealt with actual knowledge for the intermediaries and defining actual knowledge as to when this actual knowledge has been occurred to the this intermediaries, they should immediately act upon. To immediately act upon to comply that infringement claims. So basis this, and there has been the case for Western countries, but India as well, many companies have incorporated a process called takedown notice, under which an IP owner can raise claims, providing evidences about their ownership of the IP, and then pull down certain brands or certain sellers on the platform, selling whether or not spurious product or unofficial sellers on the platform. This is another possibility. There is again conflict between a product being sold which is genuine by an unauthorized seller should be allowed on the platform, being a reseller. India being following the national exhaustion policy and international exhaustion policy, any product produced anywhere for any market should be allowed to be sold in India. There's another legal position is pending before the Supreme Court to be delivered very soon. But in a nutshell, Satish, if I were to answer your question as a simplified manner, IP rights are very prominent and important for the companies and brands. And it not only because it has a commercial value dilution for these brands, but also erodes the faith in those brands from the consumer mind, number one. Number two, spurious products harmful to the consumers. And in terms of consumers' welfare, these intermediaries adopting these steps towards protecting their IP interest is as a greater step toward protection of IP, and it is interlinked to each other, like intermediary liabilities and the IP rights in that way, Satish.
It's quite enlightened from all the views and all the data and statistics that you have given, Panduranga. Thanks a lot. So thanks Atul, and thanks Venkat for all the inputs that you have given. Maybe now let us open the floor for the viewers to ask. We have some time, maybe 5 to 8 minutes. We have time which we can answer. The experts can hear answers some of the queries that you have. Maybe you can type the question in the section and maybe we will take it from there.
I think also just to add to what Mr. Panduranga mentioned, until we get a question here, I think that is why even we have, I think Amazon has come out with this global brand. They had some system. It's a very complex blockchain and a very a high-end system to actually block all these spurious goods, various sellers actually who are not genuine. So Amazon actually, I think we have a question here just to sum it up. Yeah, so Amazon has actually come out with a very a complex system to actually stop this, considering their how big they are. So yeah.
So Amazon, I think, is has the muscle power and or rather the power to bring all the restriction. But it is interesting to see down the line if what happens to other players, especially online players, how they are managing the large data that is being given to them or exposed to them. It's quite interesting time.
Anyway, it cannot be a foolproof system. You can only mitigate. It's like piracy, You can only curb it. You can't eradicate it. So that's the challenge.
Right.
I mean, just want to add that's the fact. Like we can't eradicate. I think the greater role have to be on the law enforcement now, right?
Correct.
Law enforcement, because I know for a fact there are few consumers. I come from this background, so I know first-hand information. There have been a case of one seller selling spurious product. The time one of the consumer have come back saying the product that he has received is spurious. The buyers from this same seller, right? The earlier buyers, there could be in hundreds of consumers. Most of them, or all of them, even do not know whether that product is spurious, right?
Yeah.
So there is lack of consumer education and understanding product whether it's spurious or genuine, and there is price point. There could be there will be always a test is when when branded product is sold at a cheaper price, customer will be suspicious about the genuinity of the product. But if the product is sold at the same price as the genuine product is, then most likely that customer will not doubt the product quality or products whether or not spurious. This has been the case. I'm just sharing that experience so that
Absolutely. This is in fact a great concern in the pharma industry, Panduranga, because you have various these more than any other goods. Maybe perhaps a mobile phone or a gadget is fine, but for me the greatest concern is this is happening in the pharma industry, wherein these you have spurious medicines at the same price. The packaging is absolutely the same, and even the medical shops sometimes don't know. So you just go and thinking it's a genuine Crocin or any other normal over-the-top counter medicines, but they are not. So yeah, that's indeed a major concern.
Got one question actually. From the
this is an important question. Maybe Atul, Panduranga, and myself can answer. For companies, do you have a dedicated team to ensure data privacy across network, internet, or inter-branch communications? Gerard Kevin had asked this query. So quite interesting. Let me take a first shot at it, and then maybe we will circle back to Atul and Panduranga. Yeah, in fact, we in companies have a dedicated team. In fact, we have a dedicated team for information security. We have a dedicated team for privacy laws as well, where information security takes care of the technical aspect, and the privacy team takes care of the privacy laws across the globe. So it covers, yes, not just the internet or various departments within the organization are usually audited with respect to the privacy laws, and then the gaps are identified, and then we build in the privacy by design within the system. So these are some of the things that we do, Gerard. Maybe Atul, you can shed more light into it.
With you, in addition to that, I will suggest I actually we put stress on the education, because even if there is a team, we have got 5,000 or 6,000 or 10,000 employees. So these 5 people or 10 people cannot control the data violations. So we put additional thrust on the particular training, so that people are aware of the basic regulations, not expert lawyer, but what they have to do and what they have to comply. So that's the additional point I wanted to make.
I think,
Panduranga?
I think you put it well. I think privacy by design is the way forward. I just want to touch upon from the data collection to data processing. Right? It's a journey in the company where you have a dedicated resources. You have InfoSec from the IT who will be guard of this data, and then how do we deal with them is like access control for this data, so that we have a limited access and we make sure that it is regularly monitored. And what is so important and supreme, so that at the beginning is we only collect data which is essential to complete the services. We don't go and ask for more data beyond what is necessary. That is very, very important. And as Atul mentioned, awareness is the key for anything and everything in the organization. I think when this law is also implemented, anyways, we are now anyways covered to the extent of employing appropriate measures in terms of protection of data under Section 43 of Information Technology Act of India. But otherwise, generally, securing data is one, and then we also how we process this data has to be, otherwise, irrespective of the law being implemented, there is certainly moral obligation on company that we need to follow, and we are very well following that.
Excellent. Venkat, do you feel that anything more that companies can add to spruce up the privacy and security aspects of the corporates?
Well, from a technical point of view, since I'm a lawyer, I don't have much of technical information, but I feel, according to me, this is more of somebody who is having a degree from a computer engineering, who would be in a better position perhaps to actually tell what are the mechanisms vis-a-vis the new challenges that maybe perhaps because all your companies are so huge with the number of people, with the number of third-party vendors that all of you engage, the amount of third-party traffic also, of course, either because of the employees or because of any other third parties trying to get some kind of a permission into the system, they would be perhaps a more sound and better equipped to actually suggest as to what can be done. But from a legal point of view, yes, as all of you have already pointed out, I think once this new bill becomes a law, most of the concerns would be taken care of, wherein to begin with, at least the purpose for which the information is shared, it is only to that extent that the concerned application can use the information. So according to me, that would at least be a good start for us.
Great. Okay. So Venkat, this one quick question, before we wind up, we have just a couple of minutes. Do you think now everybody taking a cue for Signal and Telegram messaging apps? do you think that that will also way down the line, maybe, or is there a threat that even Facebook can acquire Signal or Telegram down the line? What do you? What is your take? Maybe something a quick take on this, Venkat, before we wind up.
I will not be surprised that already if you have agreed to this information being shared to someone else, other than just Telegram. I mean, Telegram. I mean, all these apps, like I mentioned, unfortunately have certain policies which can be shared outside the very purpose for which it is meant for. So I have not read the terms and conditions, privacy policies of all these applications. But knowing Telegram, I hope not, or even applications like MyGate, we all stay in apartment complex. MyGate is the next very well-known app here in India. So even that I heard, I mean, there are some news, but I'm sure we will have to go into the privacy policy in detail. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if already they're sharing, because strictly speaking, it is not illegal.
Yeah.
So that is why it really calls for this bill to become a law very soon.
Anyway, thanks, Venkat. Thanks.
Satish, 1 minute. One last question here. I would like to address that. That is, Gerard has asked that sensitive topic, that whether you are taking separate care for the data privacy for the China apps. So it is a sensitive topic, but at the same time, I would like to make one or two suggestions. That once you are going for the free apps, you are compromise your privacy. So any app you can take. There is no need of China or somebody. Whenever you are getting into the app, and they are asking for all the permission. For example, today I am logging in. They are asking the permission to take care of a laptop and everything. So I have compromised my privacy to the extent of this session. So we have to decide. One is that which app we should take, and definitely we have to exercise more and more care where we should not keep the sensitive data on the mobile or maybe laptop where they can access your sensitive data. So that actually one point I can tell. Otherwise, yeah.
Very true. Anyway, thanks, Atul. Thanks, Venkat and Panduranga, for all the knowledge sharing that we had. Quite interesting session. Now over to you. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for a wonderful session. Satish, Panduranga, Venkat and Atul for a wonderful session and very interactive session. And thanks Gerard for your questions. So I hope your answers has been there with you now. Thank you very much.